Yeah, so stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about. Like now they would say, it's okay to cry, you've got to be in touch with your emotions. Let's talk about why you're crying.
Yeah.
Stop being such a bloody sissy and get over it. So we're back again, eh?
Hello.
Did you miss us? We got some topics, Katie, Ellen. Hey,
Yes.
we got some red hot, I'm telling you, red hot topics. Red.
We do.
Oh, speaking of which,
Oh, I
congratulations.
got a red top.
Yeah, speaking of which, welcome to the club.
Oh, to the...
Grumpy old man.
Yeah.
There you go.
For those of you who don't know, I turned the big half-ton a couple of weeks ago. Yes, milestone.
Yeah,
So I'm
that-
officially allowed to be called a grumpy old man.
Yeah, so now, okay,
Yeah.
for everybody out there, we need to know officially.
Yes.
That's worrisome.
Does the rug now match the curtains?
No. It's funny, from the nipples up, I'm grey. Except for these dark... I don't tint me eyebrows. I have so many people asking me, do you dye your eyebrows? No, I don't. They're still dark, and I've got salt and pepper up here. But no, I'm still black from here down.
All right.
Yeah,
So
it's okay.
the
If all of you guys are wondering, because someone is,
so the
Been
nugget's
keeping you
working
awake
then, is
at
it?
night, has
they're,
it?
well, they're for decoration, but I'm still black down there.
There's a thing called too much information.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
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 Well, Soos wanted to know. So,
That's it.
So don't leave the man
No.
wondering.
Our audience wanted
Yeah.
to know.
It's for the audience.
yeah.
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 Yeah. Well, talking about our wonderful...
Let's get on topic.
Our wonderful subscribers actually have given us the topic for today.
Oh, hello.
Yep. This come from one of our subscribers.
Did it?
Yep.
Oh.
Hi, Jenny.
Ah.
Yeah.
Hey, Jen.
Yep. There we go. So our topic is...
Yeah.
Are we ready?
Do
Drum
I
roll.
dye my eyebrows? No.
Does Alan... No.
Yeah.
So, back when we were kids, some of us in the 80s, some of us in the 70s, to guess if you're old. Grumpy old men.
Ooh.
The things that
Make you go.
the things that our parents or older people would say to us as kids to either shut us up or encourage us to do things. It's very different to the kind of parenting that we have now.
Cotton wool parenting.
Cotton wool parenting.
Yep.
Bubble wrap parenting.
wrap.
Yeah. So I think in the 80s it was more to just shut you up. It was to make you tough.
And to harden you up.
Yeah, to harden you up, make you tough. Obedience and authority,
Yeah.
that kind of respect for your
Yep.
elders, all
Yep.
that kind of stuff.
We're missing that.
Yeah, a bit of survival, bit of,
That's
gotta
it.
be
Walk
practical.
it off.
Walk it off, that's right. And now it's more, I think, emotionally driven. There's a lot of emotional validation, respectful communication, empathy, autonomy, all that kind of stuff in parenting.
Right.
Yeah. So,
Right.
not all things back then was bad or good, and not things all now are bad and good. So we've got a few things that we can talk about to see what was good, what was bad, what was said.
And what's indifferent.
How do we say it now?
Okay. Right.
No.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. So, one of the things that I used to hear when I was a kid...
You listening, Ted and Rosie?
No, I don't actually remember hearing this. Stop crying or I'll give you something to cry about. Were you told that when you were a kid?
I was told stuff like that.
And was that immediately followed by a backhander?
Probably. No, my mum and dad wouldn't have done that. Mine was drawn out torture of when I was
Right there.
get the
Okay.
belt.
Was it? Well, you got the belt still.
Yeah, but it was drawn out torture. It wasn't instant.
Yeah.
I don't know what was worse. I think he'd rather a back.
So you had the emotional
emotion-
hit first.
Absolutely.
Before the physical.
Emotional manipulation.
I'd rather
before
the physical and just get it over and done with.
Yeah, then it's done. Shouldn't you? You still get the physical. You just have to wait. And
You have to
Yeah.
wait.
Yeah, so stop crying, I'll give you something to cry about. Like now they would say, it's okay to cry, you've got to be in touch with your emotions. Let's talk about why you're crying.
Yeah.
Stop being such a bloody sissy and get over it. That's the one.
Swallow some concrete. Hard nut.
That's right.
Oh, but do you, are you a they or a them?
No, that's a completely different conversation. Yeah. But, like, if you do think about when you're a kid, if there was something legitimately wrong, I don't think there's anything wrong with actually talking about it. I think that there was a big issue back then when it came to crying, and probably more so for guys than girls. That it was taboo for guys to cry.
Oh, yeah.
And so then...
What, you're talking about adults or kids?
Well, as kids, you were taught that you shouldn't cry. And then that kind of progresses through
not
your
all
life,
kids, just maybe males, yeah. More males, yeah.
Well,
more
girls
males.
were still told not to cry.
But the fathers would say to the sons, come on, son, don't cry.
Yeah,
Girls cry.
sissy.
Yeah.
So I think...
I've still got... Yeah, I don't have anything wrong with it. I don't.
Yeah, but then I think, then guys these days, they're not in touch so much with their emotions and being able to explain themselves and be able to talk about it and, actually cry. There are legitimate reasons sometimes where it's okay to cry. And I think if you grow up thinking that it's not okay, then you're suppressing all those emotions. And I don't think that's healthy either. But there are also a lot of wussy kids.
I got a blister. Shut up.
Or I'll give you something to cry about.
Right, exactly.
What else we got?
Exactly. All right. Children should be seen and not heard.
What does that mean?
It just meant sit there and shut up.
Yeah.
Seen and not heard.
Seen and not heard.
Okay.
In other words, when grown-ups are in the room...
Yeah, sit down and don't talk.
Yeah.
You don't get involved in conversation.
Okay.
You don't make noise that would then distract the conversation, and you don't interrupt for something.
Interrupting is a big one. Yeah, you've got to learn not to interrupt as a kid, and then do certain things to wait your turn, and then do that, and then that's good.
Yeah, but back then it wasn't. Back then you couldn't talk at all. Whereas I think the whole thing is there's got to be like that in between where now it's good for the kids to talk because. Let's face it.
Yeah, to get involved with the adults, yeah.
And also they spend a lot of time in their rooms and on devices and not being very social. If you can get a kid to come out and sit with adults and have a conversation...
Get them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, more for that. What else you got?
Get them out in the street. Don't come home till the lights come on.
Exactly. Because I said so.
Oh, yeah.
Did you get that?
Oh, is that do as I say, not as I do?
No, because I said so.
No.
Oh, but why? Because I said so.
Yeah.
Oh, but why?
Yeah. Don't explain why, just because I said so.
Yeah. But I guess that then taught a generation to just shut up and obey.
Well, yeah.
And rightly so.
Yeah. like the military.
Yeah.
And school and everything, you just... Yeah. But because I said so, I don't like that one, actually. I think that if you're going to tell somebody or give them a punishment or give them a reason why they can't do something, I think that it should be explained to them why, because then as they grow up, they can make that choice for themselves as to why, because they've been taught why it's a bad idea, rather than just being told no. It doesn't mean that they're allowed to do it just because you talk about it. It just means that they start to then understand as they grow up why, jumping off that bridge is bad because you're going to die versus just don't do it.
Oh, you come up with a real doozy, brother. No, this is G-rated.
Yes.
Are we G-rated? I mean, and we started off talking about collars and cuffs over here. I don't know that that's G-rated.
Well, that is G-rated. I was talking collars and cuffs. Would you like me to be more explicit?
No.
You're not wearing any collar. I don't know.
What are we talking about? You'll eat what's on your plate or you go to bed hungry.
Eat what you're given. Yes, that was a big one in my household. Eat what you're given. And I don't think that should stop. No, because you should be respectful for the food that you have been given, right? Back in the older days, yes, it was a lot harder to put a decent amount of food on your plate. So that's why it was, eat what you're given and thank your mother for the rabbits. If you were good enough to have the rabbits. So I don't think that should change. It's a given.
And it went one step further. Is you finish what's on your plate.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
See, I get in two minds about that one because I'm all for not overeating. And in your body what I would eat is different to say what someone else would eat.
But you as the parent put it on the plate for the kid, so you should know what they're able to eat. You're not going to overdulge their plate.
But what, say, I might eat might have been a different amount to what my sister might eat, but when my parents served up dinner, everybody got the same.
Yeah, that's right.
Dad.
Well,
Whereas I wouldn't eat the same as my brother and sister.
Well, that's like I said, the parent put the food on the plate.
Yeah, but that's where I don't. I think that with the amount of maybe obesity and that's going around these days as well, when the plate sizes are getting bigger and bigger and bigger, I think maybe don't eat what's on your plate.
Okay, let's go back to those bad old days where you had to eat what was on your plate. How much obesity was around then? As compared to now.
But that's what I mean, as the portion sizes I think are getting bigger now.
That's true.
No, I don't think it's the portion sizes. It's the amount of sugar and crap that they're putting into the food, not the portion size.
That is true.
And the amount of times per day people are eating. Your body doesn't need that much food.
That's true. Yeah. Back then, it wasn't a snacky generation.
Yep.
No. Breakfast, lunch, dinner.
Yep. That's right.
That was it.
If you could afford it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
And lunch was a sandwich and a bit of fruit.
That's right. Yep.
That was it. There were not all the extras, muesli bar, chips, whatever else that they get now. So I guess you probably did want to eat what was on your plate because you didn't have all the snacky stuff around it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Although I did like to come home from school and eat raw cake mix.
But back then,
that's how our kids got it.
But back then,
I was talking about.
They weren't on their PlayStations or on their phones and shit. So they would burn off a lot more energy. They'd be outside. Yeah. They'd be running around. They'd be burning up the calories and doing shit and not coming home till the street lights were on.
Absolutely.
Oh, you're probably locked outside, so you couldn't physically come home till the street lights come on.
Yeah, well, I would be one of those kids, like every single night out on the street, and not just out the front of my house, roaming the neighbourhood.
Riding the bike.
Yep, and then I see the streetlights, tung, 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 they're all turning on.
I'm right.
All right, whether you're playing street cricket or wherever you're down the creek and catching tadpoles, slowly make your way home.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, obesity wasn't a thing back then.
No.
True.
No.
True.
What else have we got?
All right. What do we got?
Different topics. What do you got? 2 pages. Oh, I got a page 2.
You got your own pages. You could look at your pages.
Yeah, stop pinching her page.
Yeah. Spare
or there'll be hell to pay.
Any good ones on your one? We've all been given a page by Katie because this is,
somebody's got to organise these guys.
So,
true though.
I've got, why can't you be more like your sister? Well, I guarantee you that was never said in my household. I was the best. What do you got?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's probably, in some situations, it's probably fairly accurate, but in other situations, I guess that's where the sibling rivalry would come along, and it's probably not healthy to be comparing one child against another child, or...
Oh, yeah, it is. Fight for your parents' love.
Yeah. No. Equal. We're all equal.
Oh, yeah.
We have different personalities.
Yeah, everybody gets a participation trophy.
Do I have to go down on one knee and talk to them at their eye level as well?
There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with that.
As long as you live under my roof, you'll do as I say.
That is one of the biggest ones.
Yeah. I think that still applies.
I think they should bring that back.
Has it gone? I don't know.
And public floggings.
You can't flog your kids. Can't flog.
You used to, and it was a good thing.
No, I don't know that it was ever legal.
Oh, yes, it was.
Oh, yeah, of course it was.
You could flog your kid in tucker bag. And nobody would say anything.
We're not flogging children, all right?
Okay.
Yeah. But I don't know. I know about my house, but I don't think that rule's changed. You know.
That's what's missing.
I'm confused. Flogging kids in tucker bag, public floggings.
Floggings is what's missing. They learnt respect.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And let's face it, the people that went beyond the whack on the butt for discipline and took it too far don't care about the rules about not hitting your kids because they never actually did it within boundaries before, so why do they care now? But we all got the wooden spoon or the...
wooden spoon, yep.
The belt.
The belt.
I got plenty of belts. I got the belt, yep. Oh, yep. Well.
You got the strap?
Oh, well, I got more of the belt and the strap at school.
Yeah, that's right.
I got them at school.
Remember, 6 of the best.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. And you would do that fake cry. You know it hurt, but you know you're a boy. You know how to cry, yeah.
Yeah. So he'd stop.
So he would stop.
Yeah.
He'd try to,
Well, that's confusing then. Do you cry or do you not cry? Like, what are you
well,
supposed to do?
that's right. So I just got to manufacture a cry. So
you just let out a little whimper.
Yeah. We were okay. That's enough. You know, your finger's nearly fallen off.
I don't know. But the strap wasn't around when I was.
But going home, like, you know, how many times were you in the driveway? The biggest thing at my house, growing up, when they're standing at the front door with the door wide open, but they're actually in the door jamb, and as you run through, you get the size 10 up the arse. Or the hand, you know, one or the other, bang, bang. So, you know, as you run through, you're always covering your bum as you run through.
And that was because back then, the school would ring your parents at home
and dob you in
to let you know that you've been a little shit.
So you get your hands beaten and your ass beaten.
Yeah, that's right.
Do that again.
There was no mobile phones. They couldn't ring them on the spot back then. They had to wait for them to come home from work.
That's right. Whereas nowadays, a kid gets a half hour's detention and the parents are down at school wanting to sue them.
Yelling at that. Isn't that a flip?
Yeah.
True.
That's
how dare you keep my kid in detention, even though he's a shit.
It's got soccer and ballet and whatever after school.
So, like with things like that, because of this difference of parenting and the way life is and how the curriculum has taught the kids that you are allowed to express your feelings and all that sort of stuff, are we bringing up the next generation softer in all the different ways, and that's why the parents will have a go at the teachers now, because the student or your child was offended or, you know, spoken to a little bit, you know, harshly. So now the parents, the younger generation parents that have already had the kids, now they're sticking up for the kids. So are we going in a good direction?
Well, I don't think that the modern kids growing up today are going to have the mental resilience that our generation did.
For sure.
They're mollycoddled. They're too soft and they basically can't stand up for themselves.
Well, that resilience. The first time somebody says blah 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 and talks really stern and direct to them, and they turn to a quivering mess, and they're scared and they're shivering and they're crying, it's because they've never had that before. And that's what they don't have, the resilience. So, okay.
And yet, so what happens the first time? And what happens the first time they get a job? Because the boss ain't going to be there, and
and the first time they let go.
First time someone says something a little bit nasty to them or a little bit blunt.
So we're in a. I think we're in a bit of a precious era. I think we've gone too far, and we don't need to go back to exactly where we used to be. There are certain things that we could relax on, but I think we have gone too far. And like you said, Soos, that you know, they're a bit precious now, and you're just going to have to hold back, and then you've got to think about their feelings and all that sort of stuff. Well, do we? We're the parent and they're the child.
Yeah, but I think there has to be a balance, because I think there's a difference between having a respectful conversation with a child, discussing what's happened, discussing their behaviour, talking about maybe what they could have done differently. I think these days, all of that might happen, but then the accountability and the discipline doesn't follow.
Yeah.
That's what's missing. You've still done it. You can have the conversation. You've still done it.
But there's no accountability.
Consequences
because there's
because
no
of
recourse.
your actions.
Yeah.
That's
because
right.
There
has to be consequences, and there's not now. And I think that's the thing. It's not the conversation about it. It's the problem. It's the fact that when they talk about it and all be nice, and then nothing happens. Nothing happens. It's just a conversation, but there still has to be consequences.
Okay, and that consequence back when I was a kid.
Yeah, was size 10 boot up the arse.
Was a smack.
Was the lash.
But you didn't have the conversation before, so you never had the opportunity to say, but this is what happened. This is what happened. Yeah, I punched that kid in the face, but he went up and he grabbed my sister's butt. Now, if you had a chance to say that to your parent, they'll go, oh, good on you for sticking up for your sister. But if you don't get the opportunity to say that and you get the size 10 up the arse before you've even said anything, I think that's not right. But if you deserve it, you should still get the boot.
Yeah.
And that's where I think it's lacking these days. Mind you, I think we all find ourselves still saying some of the things that we
while you're living under my roof.
Yeah,
I brought you into this world and I can take you out.
Ooh.
I've got a backhoe and I know how to use it.
And I know a concreter.
That's right. Exactly.
You'll never be missed.
That's right. Yeah. I always used to get, wait till your father gets home.
Oh.
Yes.
Wait till your father gets home.
What did you ever threaten our kids with that?
No, I was quite happy to do it myself.
No, happy to.
Quite happy. Because by the time I got to that point...
In fact, you were looking forward to it.
That little lip was going. Was getting excited.
Yeah. But the wait till your father gets home thing, I think that was quite popular when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I guess these days a lot of people can't say that because there's also not as much father figures around in kids' lives as it was before. Not on a doesn't mean the father's not in the scene, but they're not living together, so the discipline doesn't come home at the end of the day.
Yep, this is true.
And then if the mother doesn't do it, well, what are you going to do? Wait a week, and then the poor dad only gets to see his kid on the weekends. He's not going to discipline them.
Well, and not the other way. The fathers that are around, there are a million good dads out there.
I'm not saying they're not good.
That are around, and they're not allowed to be that father scary figure anymore. They're just not. So
true.
On the other, the wife is not going to say that because you're not allowed to be that entity that comes in with that loud voice, and no, they don't want that. So that's where this is all heading to.
But
because
would you want as a father for your kids to fear you?
You've got to lower your voice and so in that respect, there is. I agree with you. There's not going to be wait till your father gets home because if he has to talk down just as low as you, then you're going to sound the same. So there is no scared of your father anymore.
But do you really want the kids to be scared of their father? I don't think you want the kids to be scared of either of their parent. I think they need to be scared of the accountability, the consequences. They should know, though, that if you say something, you're going to follow it through. And I think that is enough scare in itself, because if my mum says this, I know she's going to do it. Or my dad says this, I know he's going to do it. You don't have to be scared of either of them. You're scared because you know that if they say that, they're going to do it.
It was funny when I was bringing up my two girls. It was early 80s, so it was late 70s, early 80s. Over a period of time, because they were still young and as they were growing up. So it was an educational period, where they were young, and so you allowed things to happen because they were young. You need to clean up and put your toys away back in your room. We're going to have dinner. And then it didn't happen, and so I would tell them a second time. And then it didn't happen, and I wouldn't tell them ever again. And I'd pick up everything that wasn't there, that was where it shouldn't be, and I'd put it straight in the bin.
At least in garbage bags and kind of hide it. So
no. There were consequences. It was gone. It was done. A couple more times that this occurred, and I said, it's time to put the stuff away, we're going to have dinner, instantly the stuff was put away. Because there was consequences.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
And follow through.
And that's
not just
perfect.
idle threats.
And that wasn't...
I didn't have to smack him once.
No, didn't have to smack him. Just chuck the shit out.
The best toy that, they would fight over.
Yep, it's gone.
Yeah, totally. As in... Yep. It's in the garbage.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Yep. And there's no need then to raise your voice.
No. Oh, they knew
scary.
by the first time. That was it. It was done.
Yeah.
It wasn't that you're not playing with that toy for a week. No. It's gone.
Yeah.
So that worked a treat.
Yeah. Yeah, and you didn't need to be the scary dad.
No.
You know, that they fear when he gets home or whatever. You just know that...
No, but there were consequences.
I always found it funny when you would hear when I was a kid, you don't know how good you've got it now. You'd have the story, and every time I think that story would elaborate. I used to have to walk 100 miles to school.
In bare feet through the snow.
I would lick the road for breakfast.
But... how true is it? It's still true.
Yeah.
So, and look, I walked to school from prep, and I probably walked the distance of 5 kilometres when I was 5 years old. Now, our kids never walked to school, never, until never through primary school.
They couldn't. Their school
Campbell's 30 kilometres away.
They went to a school that you couldn't even walk past.
But the fact they wouldn't have walked if it was 5 kilometres away, and they walked...
What, there was no buses?
No buses.
Oh.
But kids today
There's
don't
only
walk
just buses there now.
in primary.
Yeah.
They don't walk as far as we did when we were younger.
Yeah.
And they have definitely got it easier. Every generation does get easier.
In general. Yes. I mean, our youngest, she does walk to school and she walks to work.
She's in year 12.
Yeah, but she walks.
She's driving a car soon.
No, you're saying that...
Yeah, she's good.
You're saying that people don't walk, and I'm saying you have to give credit where credit is due. She does walk places and has for the last few years. So it's not that they all don't, but majority don't want to walk. They don't do that. They don't ride bikes. They don't.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. You see, I grew up in the inner city, so we had trams as opposed to buses.
Yeah. So
I took the tram right from the start of primary school, right up to secondary school, and from secondary school I was riding a bike to school.
Yeah.
Backwards and forwards every day.
Yep.
Kids get driven everywhere now.
Yeah. Yep.
But do you think it's because there are more dangers out there, or maybe we just know of the dangers where we didn't when we were kids? I mean, it is a scary world to have kids out there walking the streets, and there's a lot of, nasty people out there.
Yeah, there were nasty people out there then. There may not have been as many, but...
Yeah. I mean, it's a percentage of the population. Yes, our population have grown.
And it's getting worse.
Well,
and kids do get targeted for their shoes and their phones and whatever because they're easy targets.
Yeah, well, that's true. In our generation, there wasn't that.
Some very colourful groups out there,
people that do it.
Yeah.
With higher levels of melatonin.
Yeah. That's a very good way.
Did you like that? Yeah, I thought so.
Yes.
I guess
it's not as safe as it used to be.
Yeah. So, you've got to, I guess, balance their safety and them getting out there and catching buses and walking around.
Have we missed one that you guys were told as a kids? Did your parents tell you something that may be different, even if it was from a different country, different place? May have, you just read something.
Yeah. Don't hit your brother or I'll hit you.
Yeah.
I don't care what it's about, I'll just hit you back.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I mean,
you're teaching them not to hit by hitting them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that worked a treat.
Irony.
And today, of course, we solve problems with words.
Oh.
Not with hands.
Oh, right.
Yeah. Let's try saying that. Yeah, let's try saying that to a bully.
Yeah.
Yeah, Trump's trying that.
Yeah.
He's trying it with words before he becomes the full bully.
Good on you. He solves
you.
problems with tariffs.
Oh, yes. That's with words. And he's saying, I'll do this to you.
with consequences.
Yeah.
See?
Yep.
And if you're a good boy, we'll take away the consequences.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's not going, bowing down to their level. He's saying, no. If you don't do it, there's consequences. Yep.
Yeah.
And it's working.
Old school.
There
I
you
think
go.
it's working.
Well, he hasn't hit anyone yet, so.
No.
Tell that
Anyway.
to the Hooties.
Oh.
We're sliding on a different topic here, but
We do that a lot. We do that a lot. But yeah, times have definitely changed in the way that we speak to our kids or the expressions that we have. Some for good, some for bad.
Yeah, some of it should be brought back.
Yep. Or maybe a balance between the two.
and public floggings.
Yeah.
Public floggings.
Bring back public floggings.
yeah.
We've said it a couple of times.
Yeah. And put it on pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right.
down the
Do
national
you have
debt.
any sayings or anything from when you were a kid,
Yeah.
or new sayings that you've come up with now that you say to your kids or
is there a new
family members? Yeah, there might be new hip and cool ones that we don't know about.
Hip and cool.
one?
Yeah, but you can't really say them unless you got a man bun, can you?
The hip and cool ones.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
have to have
And skinny jeans.
A man bag.
Yeah, that's a man bag.
Yeah.
No, I've got one of them.
Well, you can say it. You have skinny jeans?
No, man bag.
Yeah. Excellent.
Got two
We're moving
balls
on.
in it? Give us a like and a subscribe. We'll give you plenty more gear.
Yeah. And any suggestions, just like this one, if you'd like us to talk about anything, let us know.
And we'll catch you on the next one.
Cheers, guys.
See ya.